If you want to build a sustainable business without compromising your values or your work-life balance, then come join me and my guests as we share insights and actionable advice that we've learned along the way as we build our business. This is the Ease into Marketing podcast. Grab your drink of choice, cozy up, and let's get started. All right, welcome to the Ease into Marketing podcast. And today I'm super excited to introduce to you my friend Tori Autumn. She's a website and email copywriter committed to helping online entrepreneurs grow an impactful business through sharing their heartfelt messaging. She has worked with so many women entrepreneurs to launch, create, and sell services via emails, website copies, sales pages, and some resulting in over 100K sales and even close to $1 million launches. And that's just to name a few. And she has combined her 7+ years in journalism, PR, media, persuasive writing, and self-love coaching into writing copy that really gets your audience to fall in love with your services. So Tori, thank you so much for jumping on today. How are you doing?
Hi, thank you. I'm so excited to be on this podcast. I was really looking forward to it, and chatting with you is always fun.
Yes. So I'm really excited to jump into this with you because you really made a massive shift in your business in the last few years. And so I think there's so much that our listeners can learn from you. So now that we've given you a quick intro, could you share a bit more in detail about what you do and who you help?
Yeah, thank you for that. So I currently work with coaches and course creators with website copy and also nurture and promo emails. And so I'm mainly work in VIP days and also just projects like one-off projects with website copy or one-off projects with email sequences. And I really focus on that brand messaging, but also what feels in alignment for each client that I have, what feels good in a way that'll launch, that'll get them in the results. For example, everyone may not like doing a webinar or may not have an email list that's robust, but they may have a strong social media presence. So we really leverage off what is working and what they would like to try and see how we can integrate the two.
Awesome. So you quickly mentioned VIP days. So for anybody who might not know what that means, could you briefly define what it is and what you do during those VIP days?
Yeah, so I define a VIP day as an experience where you and the client work together with whether it's over a period of 8 hours a day, 6 hours a day, or sometimes VIP weeks where you get a specific number of assets done. So that could be email sequence, that could be working on a home page of a website, that can be a rewrite of some existing emails. And I have quite a few that I've done with a couple of clients where we worked on sales page or email sequence, and this was for an upcoming launch. And it's typically something that can be done quicker than a typical project. So this, you can book it and you'll be one of the high, I would say, more priority clients to get these sequences done.
Yeah, I really love VIPs for that reason. It's very easy to just give a lot of attention to somebody and kind of show up to the highest degree of support without necessarily booking out your entire calendar. So I'd love to circle back to something that you mentioned. You mentioned really finding what is an alignment with your clients. And I feel like that's very similar to the way that I define ease. You're doing your marketing with ease. So what does that mean to you? Whether it's marketing with ease or with alignment, what does that mean to you personally and to your clients? And how does that really look in your business?
Yeah, so I think I would define doing stuff from ease as something that feels like it's not hard work, but something that feels creative or exciting or lights you up. And so there are a few ways that I feel like you can do that. So one, we all hear about how we can niche down in our business, how we can work with a specific a type of client or work in a specific type of niche within copywriting, whether that's, just emails only and things like that. But one of my mentors had taught me how we can niche down in values and how we can niche down in terms of choosing clients that have those type of values. So if I like running my business based on integrity and inclusiveness and accessibility and creating high visibility things for my clients, and they like those too, I think that we can come from a place of ease because we already share these common beliefs and these common ways that we want to run our business. And so we can then work together and create a favorable launch for their upcoming projects. A lot of times we see with our clients that they are putting off the writing and putting off being visible in their business for the launches, as I do too. I fall short of that as well at times. But I noticed that when I don't put a lot of pressure on myself and I focus on like that one-on-one connecting with people and also listening to podcasts that get me really energized and start the day like that, and also adding in self-care elements, because I do have a background in being a self-love coach. Typically I feel a lot better getting into launches for myself and helping my clients get into it. I've noticed that they have been able to implement self-care strategies that feel good for them and overall creating a sense of ease and clarity when launching.
I love the idea of launching with self-care. So, can you give an example of what that might look like? And of course, I totally understand. You don't have to give too specific details if you don't want to, break any NDAs or any of your clients' trust. But what would that look like for you, for instance?
Yeah, thank you for taking that into consideration. I appreciate you for that. And in terms of me, so I'll give an example for me. I have like my daily 4 things that I do to sort of have a positive day. So, and it's also to be productive with work, right? So they kind of go hand in hand. So meditating, going to the gym, even if it's 10, 15 minutes. So like this morning, right before this interview was 20 minutes. And I said, okay, that's fine. And doing some type of outreach, and then also connecting one-on-one. So that connecting one-on-one sometimes falls into seeming like an outreach opportunity, but a lot of times it typically tends to be my copywriter colleagues. So those 4 things really help me focus on what I can control, focus on things that are going right, stay really present throughout the day, because it's so easy to go into this sense of, okay, I have enough client work for the next 30 days. What about next month? And what about 3 months from now? And I just like have to get those thoughts out of my head. But more importantly, I found that when I connect with other people who feel similar to me, or feel like I'm a little bit ahead of them, or I feel like I'm around people who are a little bit ahead of me, though, like combining those situations where we all connect have really helped with launching and just overall feeling more visible in my business.
That is so important, and I love hearing that so much. Um, and so, have you? Was there a time when you didn't implement those elements in your business? And if so, how have you seen the impacts that change has had on your business with time?
Yeah, so the last launch that I had with my self-love coaching was like an utter failure. It was a failure in the sense of I didn't get any new clients for the program that I had for self-love coaching. Excuse me, my dog will not be quiet. But I didn't get any new clients, and I remember dreading the webinar. I remember dreading the masterclass part of it. I remember just saying like I just kept pushing it back. I kept delaying meeting with my virtual assistant, which is the whole reason I hired her, was because I want to help with it, but I'm like avoiding it and avoiding her in those elements. And I
Mm.
realized like my procrastination was telling me something. And sometimes procrastination can tell you, it can go either way. It can say like, okay, this thing is so big that you just kind of fear it, but it's going to, you, of course, you're going to have more resistance to it because it may change your business for the better. And in the other end of it, I feel like if you're procrastinating, it's something that you may not like to do and you don't want to do it, but you feel like it's part of those should things you should do. So, and I knew that it was that. I knew that it was like something I felt like I had to do. Um, and so I didn't really focus on the self-care stuff. I think I really beat myself up with that whole launch. But ironically enough, right after I had that field launch, I saw a lot of my peers coming out talking about how they just had a launch and it failed. And I think this is because it was my first time going through it. I thought it was like, whoa, it's me. Like, I need to shut down my business. Let me close the virtual doors and things like that. But it actually eased my mind to know that there are better ways that we can do our business, sell our services, and from a place of ease, but also what feels good. And I think now that I know, okay, incorporating self-care stuff in my launches is one of the things that I need to focus on because it makes me feel good. I haven't stopped doing that since.
And so you mentioned kind of dreading that webinar. So are you still using webinars now for your own personal stuff, or have you found something that that you feel more at ease doing?
I'm going all in on LinkedIn right now. And I've been finding that so much fun because I kind of look at outreach. This sounds weird, but I kind of look at outreach and all those different elements of marketing a business as a launch. And,
Oh,
and
yeah.
so, yeah, I totally look at all of that stuff as the same, even though some things don't have a cart closed component to it. It just all feels like there's opportunity to grow your business and attract those clients and sell your services. And so I find that LinkedIn being consistent on that has really elevated my business. And so some of the things that I do on LinkedIn is posting consistently Monday through Friday. And sometimes it's just thought provoking pieces about life, about business. And then other parts is about copywriting, brand messaging, website copywriting and content, as well as email strategies. And then I'm also a part of a pod where we like engage on each other's posts and write thought-provoking comments so that we can kind of beat the algorithm, but also to attract other ideal clients. And so that has really been working for me. Also, in terms of the copywriting segment of my email list, I write to them. I'm growing into my I'm going to start getting into reels. I just can't imagine me dancing and pointing. I'm like, what else could I do, you know? But I definitely want to get into Instagram. So those are like the main things that I do. And I don't want to do any more webinars, so I probably won't be doing that. But workshops, I most likely will be doing for copywriting. Well, entrepreneurs who want to learn copywriting.
Oh, yeah, because that's very different from webinars. Because, well, correct me if I'm wrong, webinars tend to have a lot less interaction than workshops. And so there's less back and forth. Yeah.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Yeah, I love hearing about LinkedIn because a lot of times I feel when people think about LinkedIn, they're thinking, oh, like just, sending DMs to random strangers and not necessarily about posting content and attracting people to you. So I find that very interesting. And how, in your case, how were you able to really connect to that pod that you mentioned? How were you able to find these people?
Yeah, great question. So my very first, this is funny, my very first client for copywriting last year was a dating coach, and she wanted me to update her quiz funnel with new copy that speaks directly to her ideal client who's looking for a relationship and a dating coach. And then also she wanted me to write her emails for her dating program, which is like a 3-month intensive mastermind experience in a way. And so from there, I did that. She got great results from that. And she and I had stayed in close contact. But for months, she was telling me, you got to get on LinkedIn. I'm finding clients left and right. I just had my first 5-figure month. And I was like, LinkedIn? But you're a dating coach. But she is consistently on there, engaging with people. And so she introduced a different part of her services, well, although her primary service is the dating program that she has a secondary service where she has works with women who want to get their LinkedIn up and running. And so I chatted with her about that. And then I ended up joining her community, where a lot of women are focusing on getting their engagement and conversations and thought pieces out and things like that in LinkedIn. So it kind of reminds me of how when you and I were in a mastermind, we would talk, we would do stuff on Instagram. It's the same concept in the sense of we just show each other support. Like, because as we know, the algorithm doesn't tell us all the time when someone posts stuff. So it's just a simple, hey, check out this post that I wrote. If you feel like sharing or commenting, that's much appreciated. Just simple things like that. And it's about 30 of us in it, but I would say consistently I interact with probably 5 or 10 of those people. And then outside of that, I'm very intentional about who is on my LinkedIn. So if there are other copywriters or other entrepreneurs that I would love to work with, I take the time out to comment on their stuff, and not just like, oh, that's cool, but really give like my feedback on something, or try to talk about a different perspective that they may not have thought of in a respectable way. And also sharing other content. Like if I see something that they say, I'm like, oh wow, that was very insightful. It reminds me of this other article that I've read. You should check it out. So just doing things like that have really not overall just boost my engagement, because I think with social media we get stuck on, I got to make the first 1,000 followers, and I don't look at it as a numbers game, but I look at it as a connections game.
Mm-hmm.
And how many people can I have touch points throughout the day, so that overall I feel like boosting my outreach. And I do count that as outreach, commenting on people's stuff, but also just making an impact on my brand and who I am as a business owner.
Yes, that's so powerful. And I remember from our time in a mastermind together that having that connection with other people, um, even even if you're a huge introvert like I am, it makes such a difference to have that community in your business, and it does give that ease because it it makes it feel like not everything is on your shoulders, right? At least that's the way that I perceive it. And so if there's something that we can take away from this is, even if LinkedIn, for anybody watching, if even if LinkedIn isn't your platform of choice, really seeking out people who are at the same level as you, or even who are where you want to be, and joining those types of communities can really transform the entire way that you do business, and that that you feel about your business as well.
Absolutely, I agree. And that's important to me. That's an important piece of it, about how you feel about your business, because a lot of the activities that we do in our business are not going to feel like they're leading to the bigger picture or making money per se. Like, does it equal me comment on someone's post to me making $10,000? Not necessarily at times, but it does tie to how I feel about myself, my brand. When people go on my LinkedIn, I want them to see that I do have something interesting to say. A lot of times, because we see other people in our field who are more successful, whatever, how we perceive them to be, we feel like I don't really have anything interesting to say, which is not true. So, but there are so many touch points that you can prove that to be wrong, that you don't have anything to say, and also make other people feel seen, make other people feel understood when they put their messaging out.
That's so important. Feeling seen is a big part of it. I love that. Um, I love I love so much about what we just discussed. I do want to shift gears to a final topic that I find it has been having a lot of resurgence, especially in the last few years. The concept of ethical marketing. I find that it falls a lot into ease, because for people who are concerned with you know doing business in a way that aligns with their ethics, doing that can really help you achieve ease, because doing the opposite may, it may make you feel not so great, physically, mentally, etc. So, but it's really difficult to define, what does that mean? It's different for everybody. So what does ethical marketing mean to you personally?
Hmm. I love that you said to me personally, because from my understanding, I know that sometimes it can be hard to define if it's like this is how everyone should do things in their business. So yeah, I love the way you put that. For me, it's very integrity driven. So it's very one of the things I want people to know when they see my website is that I have my like on my homepage, I have the services I provide and some great testimonials, but I have even bigger on my website the different values that align with me. And I think ethical is going back to going by my values, but also when something doesn't feel right, don't do it. If that means it's exchanging money with a client who's not quite of an alignment. And I've been in those situations where you want to turn that client away for whatever reason, but you also feel like I need money right now. Is it dumb to turn them away? And I've dealt with a few situations like that. But because I know that money can come from another source and it doesn't have to feel icky, it doesn't have to feel gross accepting it, and I don't also have to put my self-respect on a line or my brand or my integrity on a line, then um that's when I know how to make a great decision from that. I also think it comes from a place of having good discernment when you know that you have to do certain things to grow your business, as uncomfortable as they seem. If you have ways to do that without without harming other people, without making other people like being offensive to other people or harming other people, and doing something for the greater good. So I feel like as marketers, we have lots of power and persuasion and doing greater good stuff. I think that is part of running an ethical business. I'm sorry, did you say ethical business or ethical marketing?
Ethical marketing, but that really falls into ethical business as well.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. Just that power discernment if this is hurting other people, how I'm marketing my services. Am I doing too much fear of missing out to the point that they feel pressured to pay for something that they cannot necessarily afford? Am I putting into perspective of other people who might be a better fit for this program, but also um, can use one of my other services that are not too intense or more their speed in terms of a membership instead of one-on-one coaching or whatever it is. So just taking into consideration of where your customers are and how that customer journey overall says something about you.
Mm, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And how has that impacted the way that you write copy specifically, like for yourself and your clients?
Yeah, I think that it has really helped because I started working with clients more who light me up and they feel lit up when we both work together. So I think that um by me saying those things out loud on the discovery call with them and also in the contract of certain ways that work best for us to work together, and also just understanding that boundaries don't have to come from a place of like, oh, you're stressing me out, I need to tell this client to back off, but just setting them from the beginning and kind of getting a feel of how they feel in terms of communication and also follow through when it comes to completing the projects has been great with yeah that overall thing. I feel like that's the one area of my business that seems to be going really well right now.
Yeah, setting those expectations early is so important. And I feel like a lot of us have learned that the hard way, right? um
Yes, absolutely.
that's awesome. So but before we wrap up, is there anything else that you'd like to share about your business or anything like that?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to reach out and for me to do this interview with you. I'm so looking forward to this, and thank you for your thoughtful questions. And if anyone wants tips or tricks on how to boost their audience engagement, how to build more connections with their audience, I'll drop the link down to Charlene to share my free guide with you on that.
Yes, so you'll be able to find that in the show notes. If you're watching this on YouTube as well, it will be in the description. So make sure you go and check Tori out. You'll love what you see, I'm certain. And she has so many amazing resources for you guys. So make sure to check that out. All right. Thank you so much, Tori, for your time. I really enjoyed this conversation, and I will speak to you soon.
Thank you. I'll see you soon.